you should tell us as well about the Paul Gascoigne in your kitchen story.
Oh, I'm lying in the house one night, about, I don't know, 3:30 in the morning, right, sleeping. And gospel truth, Andy, my missus nudges me, wakes me up. I look at her like that. She said, there's somebody in the house. I went, what? So I listened. And I don't know if it's ever happened to you. You don't want to wish this on MD. Seriously. If you hear somebody downstairs in your house,
it's frightening, yeah.
3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So she said, what are you going to do? I said to my missus, how are you going to sort that out? No, never. I said, thank you.
Take this,
yeah,
and go down.
So I get down the stairs with this 3-iron, right? And I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? Anyway, and I go flying into the kitchen, lights on, and all I can see is Gazza in my fridge.
This is amazing.
It's 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
Right. And he's in my fridge. I said, Paul. He doesn't even turn around, right? He says, what is it? He's still in my fridge, right? What is it? I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm making myself a sandwich. You know what I mean? As if I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
He says, I'm making myself a sandwich. Right. I went, oh, okay, fine, no bother. So I went back upstairs. And she says, who is it? I says, it's Paul.
I know what you're going to say.
She says, what's he doing? I says, he's making himself a sandwich. And she goes, oh, all right then. Right, we both get back to sleep, right? I got up the next morning, we go to training, and she says, you better find out how we get in, by the way, because it's a bit of a concern, because we get security in the house. So I said, guys, no problem, but last night I said, mate, how did you get into the house? He went, he says, you'll not remember, he said, but 3 or 4 months ago, he says, you were in the back of the car, and I was driving you into training, and you were on the phone to your missus, and you told her where you would leave the spare key, right, under the tree down at the bottom of the garden. So he went, I bet that key's still there. So he drove to the next village. Sure enough, under the thing, we went the key, let himself in, and there's your story in the back garden.
Do you know who assisted me for my last ever goal for Rangers?
Who?
Reno Gattuso, the wee man.
See.
And what a career he went on to have.
What a player.
World Cup winner, Champions League winner. I remember he signed for us. Shaban, honest to God, he signed for us. And
was he angry?
Oh, aye. He was a brilliant wee guy, right? And me, Durante and Gascoigne took him out in the afternoon after he'd signed. And Shaban, I can remember, Gascoigne had bought this Italian-English phrase book, right? Of course, the Italian-English phrase book was fine, but what he had to learn was Glaswegian, which was nothing like English. Oh, he was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic, and he loved it. I remember we're playing Celtic one of the games on the Saturday or the Sunday, right? So we're training on the Friday, and he just, you know what he's like. He just trained as he played, we get to, so, and used to get wired into everybody, right? So Walter, at that time, in the first couple of weeks, Walter says to Gascoigne, he says, Gazza, he says, listen, get the wee man to cool down. He's got to injure somebody. Get him to cool down, will you? Of course, Gazza said to him in Italian, manager thinks you're not running about enough.
How winding you up?
And he went from being a madman to a complete madman. Oh, brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Ali, tell us the story, or tell the guys the story about when Ray was talking about Gazza and Andy and Dino was saying about, you know, they went to Neil Diamond. Do us a favour, tell us the story about the fireworks, Gazza.
Oh, fireworks.
This is a gem. Go to hear this one.
So I'm in the dressing room, and it's just the day before Guy Fawkes, right? So Gascoigne's not even in the conversation, right? He's away over the dressing room. So I turn to wee Durante and says, do you know what I'm going to do, wee man? I says, I'm going to get some fireworks. I said, my mate Knox, he's coming out of the house. I said, I'm going to get some fireworks. I'm going to have a wee firework display in the house. That's a good idea, Coist. He says, smash, and hope that goes well. So I turn round, and as I turn round again, Gazza's right in my face. And he looks at me. He says, Coisty, I'm your man for fireworks. And I know what you're thinking, guys. At that point, I should just start in the opposite direction, but I didn't, right? I said, what's the deal? He said, £100 boxes, a tenner a box. I went, right, I'm in for 2. So he says, meet Jimmy at the back of the Celtic end at Ibrox. Meet Jimmy tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the back of the Celtic end. I said, right, fine. So sure enough, I pull up 9 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy's there, Jimmy Five-Belly's there, and this big blacked out Range Rover, right? Honestly, it was like something of a narcos, right? So she opens the boot, she opens the boot, and he's bin bags, he's covering these big boxes, 2 big bin bags, stick them in the boot of the car. I went, brilliant, give me his 20 quid, away I went. Walked into the dressing room, Gascoigne says, how'd that go? I went, swimmingly, right, smashing. So that night, I'm back at the house, Knox, I says to Knox, we better have a look at these fireworks before we set them off for the kids. He says, good idea. So we went down the bottom of the garden and we pulled the bin bags off at these boxes, and I'm not kidding, the boxes are that size and stamped right on across the front of the boxes is that radiation sign, right? And it says underneath it, spectators must be 50 metres from detonation, right? So I said to Noxie, what are we going to do here? He says, right, we better have a look at one of these rockets. So I pulled the rocket out, I swear to God, this rocket had a head on it like that, right? The next level up must have been manned, right? So I said, we better light one of these. I said, on you go. He went, I'm not getting near that. He said, you go, shut her up. And it went, on the way it went. So 2 years were hiding behind the shed like that, right? And it's not moved. And then I think this thing took off, right? And it goes away up, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And I've just turned around to look at him, and I went, he's done us, you know. And as I went, he's a boom, right? This rocket explodes, man, like you have no idea, right? Lights up the whole village. We're like, we schoolboys, that's magic. So anyway, we had a great firework display. We move on to the Sunday with a dinner in Glasgow, and we're coming back, and my wife and I in the car, and she's on the phone to Gascoigne because Gazza, and I don't know, he wasn't well, or he'd fallen out with somebody, whatever it was. Anyway, he never went to dinner. So we're going back up the road about 1:30, and he's on the phone to Alice, and he's talking away, blah blah blah. So anyway, I got up the stairs, get into my bed, and we've got a kind of bedroom ensuite and a bay window, and Alison comes running through for the toilet. She says, quick, get up. I says, what is it? She says, you need to get up. I says, what? He says, Paul. She said, Paul's got 2 of those rockets left. He lived in the next village to us, by the way. He said he's going to point one in the general direction of your village to see if we can see it. Right. So I'm here. I says, I went, don't be so, can't be bored. And I just about put my head in the pillow, and all you could hear was boom, right? And the whole room lit up, right? So I'm lying there, and my wee shoulders are going like, you know, I'm howling with laughter. Anyway, the phone goes, right? But 15 minutes later, whatever it was, 2:10. I went, oh, aye. So I picked up the phone. A voice said to me, is that you, Mr. McCoist? I said, yeah, that's Mr. McCoist, yes. He said, it's Sergeant Duncan here from Johnston Police Station. He says, just to let you know, we've got a Paul Gascoigne with us, accompanies at the moment, and he's told us a story. We've got a report of explosions get off between the 2 villages. Can you confirm or deny that he was setting off fireworks? And I said, whoa, I'm not wanting to stick him in. I said, listen, Sergeant, he might have. You know what he's like, he might have. Okay, Mr. McCoist. Well, it's just to inform you that we'll be providing Mr. Gascoigne with a bed and some breakfast for the next few hours. Right? But you're more than welcome to pick him up any time after 6 a.m. Right? So I'm like, oh my God. I said, I better get in there sharp. We need to try and keep this out of the papers. So I'm running there at 5 to 6 in the morning. I've had 3 hours sleep. And he's standing there at the top of the steps, right? Like one of the Birmingham 4, you know, I'm 3 of the Birmingham 4. He's standing there. He doesn't even look at me, Gascoigne, right? He just walks down, walks by the driver's seat, comes into the passenger seat, still doesn't look at me, looking out the window, and he says, Coisty. I said, what is it? He said, that wasn't one of my best ideas.